Hello, my name is Scott Chacon. I'm the CEO of Git Butler, and I also happen to be a certified wine expert. And today on Bits and Booze, we're going to be drinking a little bit of Merlot, and we're going to be talking about the Tauri framework, which is what Git Butler uses to build its app. Now, it's much like Electron. It's a framework to build a desktop app, but like the Berlin Wall, this issue tends to divide people. So the question is, what side are you on? Hello, welcome to Bits and Booze. My name is Scott Chacon. Today we have joining with us Caleb again. Thank you for coming back, Caleb.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm amazed I'm allowed back, which is, something.
It was on the edge. Today we're going to be having you teach me how to do a new app in Tauri.
Yes.
And the reason that we're doing this is because you happen to be one of the world's foremost leading Tauri experts.
You could say
That's
that.
actually probably true,
It
right?
probably is.
It's not...
Because we are both one of the largest sort of Svelte 5 apps and one of the largest Tauri apps.
Yeah, we're really on the cutting edge of both of those technologies.
Yeah.
So we thought maybe we'd do a couple of episodes if people are interested in this and want to build something like along the lines of what Git Butler's doing. So why don't you tell the audience what Tauri is?
Yeah.
And I'll get this open.
So Tauri itself is very similar to Electron, where you're running a browser that then talks to some other code that can sort of talk to your operating system, modify the file system.
So how does Electron do that? I mean, I think probably a lot of the audience would know what Electron is.
Yeah.
So well, A, how's it different? But like B, how does Electron do that part?
When you're working with Electron, you're entirely working with JavaScript, and Electron sort of packages an entire Chromium browser along with your application. So you've got sort of the two layers. You've got the layer that's running in the Chromium, and then you've also got the sort of file system Node.js layer that sort of does all of the low-level operations.
Right. So now before you move on,
Oh yes.
let's talk about the wine.
Oui, oui.
So today I chose a Merlot Cabernet. This is a French wine. This is from France. It's from a place, I don't know how to pronounce this. I feel like every time we do this, we do some French. It's Pays d'Oc. It's sort of the coast of gold, I think.
Yeah.
Pays d'Oc.
Well, then would it be Pays d'Oc?
No, Pays d'Orc. It's from the Lord of the Rings. This is their favorite wine.
Yeah.
No, it's a region in South France. It's on the coast.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about Pays d'Oc wines is that they're essentially, it's not regulated, but they don't have the AOC stuff that the rest of France has. It's like a newer wine region, and so they can make pretty much whatever they want. So a lot of times if you find like a $30 bottle of something from Pays d'Oc instead of a Bordeaux, you're gonna get like a $30 Bordeaux versus a $30 from this region. It's gonna be a much better wine. I actually have no idea how good this wine is. I have not tried it yet, so let's see if this tastes like a Bordeaux.
Wow. There's a lot of texture in there.
It's not bad, right?
It's
not
good.
bad.
Yeah.
It's a little fruity. It tastes young, I feel like. Almost as though it should be sweet. Like a juice. Yeah. Anyways.
It's interesting.
It's not bad. Yeah. That's yeah, okay. Anyways, so our Merlot Cabernet blend, I don't know if you know this. Did you see the movie Sideways? Where the guy hates Merlot.
Hello, I'm leaving. I am not drinking any fucking Merlot! Okay.
It was such a big hit.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows anything about wine. And they heard this guy who's obviously an expert in wine just hate on Merlot. And like wineries went through and dug under all their Merlot and replanted it with other grapes because nobody was buying. It completely devastated the market of wine from Merlot.
That's awful.
And they just, it was completely ridiculous. There's no reason for it. It's a very nice grape.
Yeah.
Enough of wine. Let's drink this nice Merlot, this grape juice Merlot. And get back to Tauri. So you were starting to say this is similar to Electron. Electron's all in JavaScript. It bundles this big Chromium sort of browser, so it tends to be really large binaries, right? Yeah. Or a lot of people make fun of it for being like very CPU and memory intensive.
Very slow, very large.
But so how is Tauri different from that?
So the main difference that I see between sort of Electron and Tauri is that rather than shipping an entire Chromium browser, which is quite a large thing, Tauri instead makes use of your operating system's sort of either WebKit or sort of other Windows,
Like the default browser
the default
engine.
operating system browser, essentially.
Again, like Git Butler is written in Tauri, so we have probably some of the most experience in actually shipping a product to where thousands of people are using this across lots of different operating systems. It turns out. How much of a pain in the ass is that? Like how much of our support comes from that it isn't supported in this weird Linux WebKit browser or something?
Our biggest pain point is sort of packaging for different operating systems. So both signing for Windows is quite a bit of a challenge, especially on Windows. We've got problems with antiviruses still not recognizing Tauri applications.
That must be a problem in Electron apps too, no?
I don't believe it's as big of an issue.
Signing in Windows is always a pain in the ass.
So I believe signing is an issue, but we've had sort of extra problems where Windows just thinks that all Tauri apps look like a virus.
Oh, that's true.
And it seems to be just that there isn't enough of them out there yet, which a larger framework like Electron doesn't have. But with time, that's only going to get better.
That's a good point. Yeah. And then the other thing is Rust. Right.
Right.
So this is the other thing where both of us have learned Rust in the last couple of years, specifically for this project, really. But instead of the lower level stuff being done in Node, right, the file system access layer, like JavaScript can't access the file system natively, so you have to use an engine like Node or something.
Correct.
Which Electron does. But Tauri uses Rust, right?
Yeah.
So let's start something real. So we were arguing whether I should be typing and you kind of tell me what to do, or you should be typing and I'll just drink and ask you questions. Yeah. And we went down the latter route, mostly because I don't want to type.
Sounds good.
And also you don't trust me to be able to write this code efficiently. So that's fine. Let's say that our audience wants to build a desktop app for Linux, Mac, Windows, right? Cross-platform thing. How would we get started with this?
So I believe the first thing you would need to do is install both Rust via this tool called RustUp, which sort of manages Rust versions. And then you'll also need some sort of version of Node.js or a JavaScript runtime installed. So
that's specifically for the front end package management.
Yeah, so that's for the front end package management, but also a build step if you're using something like Svelte for the front end that we do.
Can you use something else for the front end? Can you use Rust for the front end if you really wanted to?
There are front end Rust frameworks that you can use.
And they're awesome, right?
They are interesting at best. Because the main downside of that is they're often running in WebAssembly, which means that there's an extra layer that they've always got to go through.
I did not know that's how they did that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Zed does not do that. They do Rust as the UI, but they don't do a WebAssembly thing.
Right.
But let's just build something.
Sure.
So we'll build a very simple Git client, not a very complex Git Butler Git client. You should try Git Butler. So how do we get started?
So once I've got my sort of version manager for both Node and Rust installed, they've got this handy dandy little function that you can just copy and paste into your terminal. Mm-hmm. And
how do you ever you do this? This is like a way that you install like Brew and stuff as well.
Sure.
How much do you trust this?
I
mean, in this case, it's not like sudo or something, right?
Yeah,
so it's not. But like you're just downloading a script from the internet and then executing it.
Yeah.
With your user permissions.
I mean, this is absolutely terrifying, and you should probably always audit the script. But
have you ever looked at what this script does? It could be uploading your stuff to China. You don't know.
I have not looked at this script. I have in the past for smaller open source projects bothered to sort of do a brief audit. But I trust the people at Tauri that they're not going to.
Let's just lie to the audience that you have audited this script.
I have audited this script.
And you trust it fully.
Hang on. Hang on. No.
And anything that happens to their computers is on you now.
No.
So blindly run this script. And what happens now?
So you see this sort of, your system has been secured.
Yes.
Once we've sort of run this script, it's going to give us some prompts that we can fill in. So the first one is, what do we want to call it? Let's call it
Gitinator.
Gitinator.
Sure.
Is that how you spell that?
I don't know.
I guess it would be only one T. Anyway, then it asks us for an identifier. I think this is mainly just used in sort of packaging. So I'm just going to leave
iOS stuff. Why do you suppose they reverse the DNS sort of order of operations for these? I don't know.
Because this is something that Java does. And I think it might be to do with sort of folder hierarchy, where it makes sense to sort of go from the top level to the bottom level in terms of nested folders, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a little bit interesting. DNS looks at the end first and goes backwards, but
Yeah.
whatever. All right. Should we do getnator.biz?
Dot
Why are we
gitinator.
changing this? This is such a waste of time. .git. I love it. Yeah. Okay.
And
All right. So it does say here you can use Rust
Yeah.
as your front end. Okay. So, but we'll definitely
Let's
not do
not do
.net.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean-
Phil Hack. We'll do TypeScript.
Yeah. And yeah, this just lets us.
PNPM is what the cool kids use.
Yep.
And we are using Svelte, so we'll use Svelte here, right?
Yeah.
We'll choose Svelte. I do like Svelte.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious. Maybe it's not quite as the ecosystem is not as
Mature.
mature as Angular or React, maybe. But let's go with it. I think I actually like the language.
I mean, it's a great framework,
Yeah.
and you can definitely get going very quickly in it. And yeah, I'm going to choose TypeScript because I'm pedantic. And yeah, we're sort of
All right.
off to the
So
races.
now we have it created a new subdirectory,
Yep.
getnator, and then we start running our PNPM things. And you
Yeah.
could have used NPM or something like that if that's what you had
Correct.
installed.
Because I like making life a little more complicated, I'm going to need to just make a little .nvmrc folder, which works with the NVM, which is Node Version Manager.
Okay,
So I'm just going to quickly make one of those.
sure.
So NVMRC.
That's the version of Node that you're using?
Correct. And I'm
What's
just
it at, 20s now?
So I think the latest stable is at, I think, 24, but the latest long-term support version is at 22 point something.
Let's do it.
So that's what I'll do. And this is sort of codename LTS-JOD. So what this says to NVM
Is that Superman's dad?
is it?
Or no? Nemesis?
I don't know.
Is that where that comes from?
I really don't
Okay.
know.
It's not
Because
important.
I think it's a mineral because they've got like iron and things like that.
It is.
Yeah.
I've seen it on German things of like Jod is in the salt.
Now that I've added the sort of NVMRC for my system, I can just do NVM use
You're not doing any of the things that it says in the template.
because I know better.
Oh my god. Oh my days.
Oh my days.
All right.
So I've just run NVM use, which tells my version manager, hey, use this version of Node. And then for...
I feel like you're making this more complicated than it needs to be.
I certainly am. We can probably cut this.
Everyone else can just follow the template instructions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not look up Jod.
I also...
Oh god, you're doing more stuff. What does Core Pack Enable do?
So CorePack is a version manager for package managers.
Oh Jesus.
I know. So this allows me to use PNPM.
Okay.
Just
type in all the things and then I'll make up what it's doing.
So now I'm running PNPM-I, which installs the relevant Node packages, and now finally I can run just PNPM Tauri dev, which starts up the Tauri development server.
Okay, so those last two commands were the ones that it said please run. This.
Yes.
Yeah. Except you substituted install for I.
Correct.
Because it's way too much typing.
Oh, it's awful, really.
Instead of all of the other things you typed in the meantime. All right, now we got the waiting game. Oh, we're done.
Yeah.
We have a little app.
Yeah.
All right, let's edit this just to like show people editing this, right?
Sure.
So welcome to Tauri and Svelte. Say welcome to Getinator. It does say Getinator at the top of this though.
So they've got this little demo app. So
Yep.
I guess we should just first take a look at sort of what they've provided us. So going in here, we've got two source folders. So we've got this main source folder, and then we've got this Tauri source folder. The first one contains all of our sort of front-end JavaScript code, and then the second one is what contains our actual Rust application.
Right.
So if I
So
first...
front end and back end.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So it's very much like building a sort of traditional web server type application,
Right.
where you're sending messages between.
All right. So what does our front end looks like?
So-
it has this app, which is like a app.html is like a template sort of thing that
Yeah.
everything is embedded in.
Right.
So if you need anything, can we look at it?
Sure. So
What do we have here?
this is just a very basic template.
What's Svelte assets? What is this?
I believe this is a little sort of
Just a
templating
templating
string.
stuff. Okay.
That, yeah.
And then we have our layout.ts, which is the next sort of level of layout, which looks like what?
Yeah. So this
Almost
just
nothing.
specifies.
Oh, it's the TypeScript part, so it's just sort of the backend data shit. And then the page.svelte, which is kind of the page. So let's change welcome to Tauri plus Svelte to welcome to Gitnator, and then see that change maybe.
So we can save that, and this just reloads on its own.
Oh, nice.
So it says welcome
Live
to Git.
reloading. Let's show off the Rust version. So it said hello from Rust. So actually, first, let's see what this is doing. So you hit the button.
Yeah.
Go down to the button.
So
there's only one interaction on this, right?
Yeah.
There's this button, submit greet.
Yep. So
on submit, run the greet function. The greet function is asynchronous for no reason.
It's asynchronous because it's calling this invoke function, which is what talks to the Rust side. And rather than sort of blocking your code, it can sort of just happen in the background.
Oh, it does Svelte 5 here.
Yes.
The $ state is new.
Yeah.
So you hit the button, it runs greet. Greet runs this invoke.
Yep.
That runs greet. What is the greet invocation?
So if we now take a look into the Rust side, under the lib folder is sort of where the sort of Tauri app is defined.
So the bottom part, I've seen this much long. I think ours is real long.
Ours is at least 500 lines.
So all of these things that are bundled up or like put on each other. But the top part I'm very familiar with because every time that I need to write a new thing that our app can do in Rust and execute and come back with some data set, this is what it looks like, right? It's this hashtag Tauri command thing. This says greet, so this is what it's going to try to run when you invoke greet from the other side. So what are we doing here?
What we see here is just a very basic Rust function, and we're firstly sort of decorating it with Tauri command, which is sort of what lets Tauri understand that this is a command that we want to run. And this sort of Rust macro is what sort of takes the arguments from the JavaScript side and sort of like parses them into what we expect as the arguments and return type.
How good is this at typecasting, right? Like this is does it have to be ampersand like the sort of string function? Like can it be the string object?
Yeah.
Can it be anything that resembles a string that it can kind of figure out how to massage into this? Or I actually have not been very sophisticated on how that data goes back and forth between Tauri. Like, is it a JSON object or what?
So we're sending a sort of just object that seems to... So, I mean, firstly, this is an incredibly good system that works so well that I don't fully understand the
whole RPC mechanism.
The whole RPC mechanism. But I believe the basic idea is that there's a JSON object that gets sent back and forth. And then under the hood, it makes use of the SERD library, which is a very common sort of serialized, deserialized library that then takes it from this JSON object and converts it into the sort of arguments that we've requested.
So this is kind of, because actually it's funny because we're doing a pointer to a stir thing, and then we're returning a string object, right? So we're actually receiving and returning two different types of objects.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is that working with SERD, right, on serializing and deserializing stuff in Rust, I feel like it's super pedantic, right? Like this is like the point of Rust is to be incredibly like, no, you sent me something that's slightly different, whereas like Ruby is very forgiving on a lot of these things, right? It's like, or even JavaScript, right? It's like, whatever, it's an object, just if you tell me what it should look like, then I'll try to make it sort of fit that, and otherwise I'll try everything I can before I actually air out. Whereas Rust is like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if it's not perfect, then go fuck yourself.
Indeed.
That should be its tagline, actually. But here, I feel like it's actually relatively forgiving as to the types that it's taking in and returning.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess it's all magic. Let's not worry about that too much. Before we finish up this episode, because we have a working app, we're modifying it, we've looked at the structure, let's make the Rust do something interesting.
Yeah.
So let's have it maybe list out, files or something. Let's do some file work, right? Because we can actually access the file system here. Is there some way to say like, here are the files in your home directory?
Let's make a new Tauri function.
Yeah.
So let's say Tauri command, and in are
Wait, why is this one async?
so
I thought they were all async.
they all get executed asynchronously, but there is some subtle differences in sort of how on the Rust side they're processed. And for Git Butler, we've determined that it's just better if we mark them all as async because it just behaves better, does multi-threading better.
Okay.
So yeah,
Magic keywords.
magic keywords.
I love it.
They do stuff, just use them. I'm very pernickety about knowing how stuff works, and I've just accepted that I can't know.
I need to stop you right there
Yes.
because I think the word is persnickety.
Is it persnickety?
I don't know. That's actually the whole irony about this conversation
Is you're being
is that we're
pernickety.
being persnickety about whether it's pernickety or persnickety.
Yeah. So I'm just going
What's
to
the command that we're doing?
define a list files command, and I'm going to ask for just a path. As I'm going to choose to take this as just a string, so a stir, and I'm going to return a vector, which is sort of a list type.
Yeah.
An
array.
An array of the file names. So I'll just do that as a string.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to do is just register this command because on its own, Tauri doesn't know where these are. So in this sort of generate handler function or macro, I can just do comma and then list files. And Tauri now knows that this is a command that exists.
Yeah.
So in here, the first thing I want to do is just convert this string into a path object. So I'm going to say let path equal path
Man, the path buff stuff.
new, and pass in the path. And now I should be able to, oh shit.
You know what you need is Copilot.
No, Copilot is never needed.
I love you, GitHub.
Yes, so we've made a path.
Sure. All right, what are we doing? We're looking at, is it reader?
Yeah, it's probably reader. That looks about right.
That looks semi right.
So returns an iterator of the entities entries in a directory. So this gives us a...
So turn all the paths into strings, send them back.
Yeah. So this gives us a result type. So normally you'd want to do sort of error handling. I'm going to use the magic keyword called unwrap.
Yes. It's Christmas time.
It's Christmas time. We're unwrapping
We're unwrapping
presents.
everything. That is a nerd joke. All right, continue.
And this is returning me an sort of a list of, it was giving me an iterator of an object of a certain type. And I want to convert this into just a list of strings because they're nice to deal with.
So to be clear about unwrap, just for the Rust users, this is essentially saying we're just guaranteeing at the code level that there will never be any error.
Correct.
And just don't even try to handle it.
Yeah.
Or explode.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to just convert this into my list of strings. So I'm going to do .map, which sort of takes one list and performs an operation on every item. So this is a entry, and I just want to do something like entry.
Some closure thing?
Yeah. So it's got a little lambda function that you pass. So it's like a block in Ruby.
Right.
Oh, this is a result on its own, right? So let's unwrap.
Sure.
And
Yes.
now we can get a file name.
Perfect.
And let's just convert this
This is why everyone loves Rust.
to a stir and to a string. Beautiful.
God, that looks so nice.
Flawless. Flawless, really.
And how do you return it?
So, oh God. Oh my days. So in Rust, the last statement of a function is sort of implicitly returned. So simply by having this be...
Yeah, I'm always used to returning results where you have to do like okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but also Rust got mad at you.
Yeah, so I've done a map on an iterator, and I forgot to add a collect on the end of this, and
all right,
it should be happy.
Can we run it?
Can
we see if this works?
shit. Rust just needs me to tell it, please be a vector of strings, and now it should compile.
It'll match. Okay.
Great.
Can we run it?
Yes. So
I still saw some squiggly red underline there. I feel like it's going to be a problem. You just said how much you love this about Rust.
I love this an awful lot. There are various parts of this that seem to want to make their lives very difficult. So I'm just going to add unwrap everywhere.
Yes. This is my solution to every problem in Rust. Just unwrap.
Yeah. I'm sorry, this is painful. It should work now.
It wants to stir.
Yes! We have written a Rust
All
program.
right. Now, last thing. Then we finish up.
Let's go and make a second function. So, bloody hell.
Let's make the function called bloody hell.
Async function read directory. Let's get it given a path, which is a string. Now I can just come and say my output is equal to the awaited invoke function. And we need to just tell this that we're going to expect a string array here. And now we can call, list.
And that's just because it's TypeScript. Otherwise, you would just say invoke it.
Right, yeah.
Okay. List files.
And we'll give it, we called it the path variable. So now if we just make ourselves a...
Well, let's hard code the path.
Sure.
So we know what's happening and we don't have to put in a thing. Just have it, you hit the button and it gives us the output, right?
Sounds good, sounds good.
It's going to be easier.
So I'm going to make a button so that we can click for the list. So I'm going to say the on-click event will just run our read directory folder function.
Why don't you use Copilot? I'm just curious. Is it you don't like AI?
So my feeling...
Do you think it threatens your job?
No. So I like to understand the code that I've written. So that either means that I'm going to spend some amount of time before I write a function, sort of figuring out what it's going to do. Or if I have something generate code for me, I'm going to want to spend about the same amount of time double checking to see if what it generated was correct.
Let's finish this. Finish him.
Finish it. So let's just grab a path off my file system. So there's nothing
bad there.
bad in here.
A lot of weird MP4 names in there.
And for the sake of brevity, let's just log out the output to the console. So when we go to our little app here, we can just right-click and inspect element like you would a normal browser. And if I just head over to the console and hit click for the list,
Hey, it works! Yeah. Look at that!
We've got this output which lists all of the sort of folders
that's very nice. And you could do whatever you want within the JavaScript UI with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. What have we done? We've argued about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like real pedantic shit.
Yeah. We've discovered what job means. No,
we have not figured out what job means.
Yeah.
What was it? Job? No.
Jod.
We have created a new multi-platform application.
Yep.
And we have implemented a function in Rust that calls something in the file system.
Yeah.
So next episode, what do we have to look forward to?
Next episode, we've got to look forward to doing some stuff with libgit 2.
We're going to, get into libgit 2, into the Rust bindings to libgit 2.
Yeah.
Do a little Git app.
Yeah.
Similar, but much less better than Gitbutler.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And to the next episode.
Like and subscribe.
Smash.